2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and there we go.
I guess I better tell you something I haven't told you before, David.
What's that?
See in the top right hand, it's the top left-hand side of my studio. I've got a clock there that counts to the 10 seconds, then the wee counter comes up and tells us how many people's in. Anyway, good afternoon, David. It's more fun to watch you couldn't do.
It's what we did when we realised we were going live too quick.
Aye, no, the algorithm's been updated, so get more information what we used to get. Oh, sorry, the program's been updated, so get more information what we used to get. Anyway, good afternoon, folks. We're back again. Hod it and dod it. Of Scottish political commentators are here to entertain you today.
We're back, and we're front as well. There you go. Yeah.
Aye, exactly. So after this morning's little soiree into the newspapers, David and I will now take a soiree into some of the wider topics going on here in Scotland. David, and I guess we better start off with John's visit to the US of A.
Yes, Marcus Aurelius, as we say. That's the Roman diplomat who said, "Don't play the hand you're given, play the hand you've got."
Yes.
And I think it's very, very true in John Swinney's case. He was pushed in a situation whereby he was going to give an invite to the White House.
Yes.
He was there. And then what does he do? Does he turn down that invite to the White House, or does he go? He goes, obviously.
Yep.
And he plays the hand that he's been given.
Yep.
All right. Okay, and he's got.
He was there to talk to the American bourbon sector, because once they've used an oak barrel, it can't be used again, so it's then shipped to Scotland for aging whiskey. And
it showed what he was trying to do, what John Swinney was trying to do, which I very admire him for, was he was trying to show some kind of an empathy with the American market, going, we use something you can no longer use.
Yes.
And we do it to good use, and we produce Scotch whiskey that the Americans love, so... and that was it. In his own way, what he was trying to do was create a situation where America will go, right, okay, we'll relax off on the tariffs on Scotch whiskey.
Because obviously both of the industries are more or less linked because of this.
You get no control over it.
That's interesting, but he gets to the White House and he manages to convince Trump of the symbiotic relationship between the American bourbon sector and Scotch whiskey. And Trump was very sympathetic to the case, but now it's over to the UK government.
Well, the article that I read on it was the National, and they finished up by saying, isn't it a shame that we've got someone who's able to do something like that, and then has to hand on to somebody else? Why not have the situation whereby John Swinney, as a leader of an independent Republic of Scotland, all of a sudden has the ability to go, right, what do you suggest? And take the thing all the way.
It would be nice to be able to do that, wouldn't it? But we're not in that situation at the moment. Now, back here in Scotland, of course, the Greens are getting John tight for having dealt with Trump at all.
Yeah.
But if you want to play in the big boys' school, you want to play in the world stage, you need to be willing to deal with people who you ordinarily don't want to deal with. We've got another example of that coming up a wee bit later in the programme.
The Scottish way of dealing with it, the Scottish backstreet way of talking to it would be, Trump, you a big shite, you, right? But in actual fact, what you've got to do is you've got to play the diplomatic game.
Yep.
Something like that.
And Wake Up and Smell the Rosemaries were well aware of the fact that while John was in America, he had the US ambassador for the UK pinned straight to his arse.
Yes.
So John had to put up with the foul creature that is Mandy, but we'll get to Mandy a wee bit later on. We're still in the Scottish section now.
Yeah, isn't it a shame that Mandy couldn't stop him doing what he was doing, eh?
Nope. Now let's move on, David. And of course, today, First Minister's questions. And first up, of course, is Russell Finlay of the Conservative Party. And he calls for inquiries into Scottish grooming gangs and an amendment to the Victims, Witnesses and Justice Reform Bill. John replied, "There's enough protection in the Reform Bill. Let's just get it passed." Pretty simple. Now, David, we've covered this before. There was a body set up over to under the Scotland office, I think it was, when we covered it before. Mine with the Skye and the Shetland grooming gang alleged things when kids were taken for their parents who hadn't done nothing. We even the ones, the Western Isles, are accused of fucking witchcraft or something stupid like that. Well, back then, the Scottish police force set up a division to deal with that sort of thing because of the errors that were made. And they monitor grooming activities across Scotland and have been doing for over 25, 26 years now. So there isn't any requirement really for a grooming gang inquiry here in Scotland because we already have a whole division of the police that look into that sort of thing constantly. So next up, of course, was Anna Sarwar. And he doesn't get the irony of the stupidity of what he was saying because he was getting thrown into John Swinney about retail crime. And he claimed that shoplifting had been up 124% since the last election, meaning since Labour came to power. He then said that John was a soft touch on retail crime. John hits back by telling him his numbers are made up and it's unworthy of a Scottish Labour leader. He also tells him that they'd invested money to help the retail sector combat theft. Now, where the irony of this is...
If we actually assume that Sarwar is actually saying a truth for a change, what does it actually say about the situation, David?
It tells us that since Labour came to power, they have made the cost of living crisis worse.
Correct, which would push up the actual figures on retail crime exponentially.
Yes, because people are shoplifting to feed their families and feed themselves.
Absolutely.
So the fact that Anna Sarwar didn't get the irony in what he was actually saying, never mind getting slapped by the First Minister and told that that's unbecoming or unworthy of a Scottish Labour leader, and to withdraw the remark, they say Annis is just too thick to get it, isn't he? He really is. It shows you how incompetent and inept the man is when he's telling us that retail crime's up 124% since his party came to power in Westminster. You just couldn't make it up. I mean, the level of stupidity there is beyond the actual measurement.
The whole point of all of this, all these different angles that we look at, right, is that when you look at Westminster being in charge, if anything is bad, purely and simply it's because Westminster have made it so. If anything's good, it's because Scotland worked hard against the odds and made things good.
Aye, mitigating. Or legislating to ensure that the policies of the worst of the policies doing that road don't affect the people here as badly. They will affect, of course. I mean, decision making down that road, for example, the zonal pricing for electricity, that would have seen us have the cheapest electricity in Europe. That couldn't be allowed. Ed
Miliband, there's no way Ed Miliband was going to agree to that. Absolutely no way.
Same as their GB Energy, just a fucking wheeze. And the electricity, when the cap goes up, we're all going to get whacked with 112 to 18 pound a year on our bills. You know, mental. Anyway, the Greens. Ross Greer used his debut at First Minister's questions to attack Israel and call for the UK government to sanction Israel. Now, I suppose that's a fair enough place to bring it up, but the Scottish Parliament's already voted to do what it can do.
Yes.
So I think on his debut, I think he missed a I think he missed an opportunity to go on something that really mattered domestically at this point in time. Although the Gaza situation does matter to the people domestically, the Parliament doesn't have much power to deal with it. And what power it does have to deal with, it's already used. And the MSPs along there have voted to sign.
All you can do at the moment, no matter who you are, on the entire islands of Britain, is look at the people in Labour on the front bench and try and embarrass them into some kind of movement, if you like.
Aye.
And that's it.
Right, so that is basically First Ministers for you. The Lib Dems did ask a question, but you know me, I just don't bob my arse with it. They make my eyes glaze over, they make my ears stop up. I mean, it's amazing because we Willie Rennie and Stuff Shut Cole Hamilton both have the very same effect on me. I go blind and deaf at the same fucking time the minute I hear one of them open their gubs. Right, let's move on. Now, this one's quite a turn. You know, with the Unionists, didn't they want us to rescue Ferguson Marine? So we did rescue it, we made it a public company. Now the very same Unionists own the Public Audit Committee.
Sorry, I don't know why I'm doing this. But there you go.
Aye, you do know why you're doing it because it's headed up by Richard Leonard. Bouncy boy. Anyway, they're questioning the Scottish Government's commitment to the publicly owned shipyard, as the Scottish Government had offered a promised 14.6 million quid to update the yard and its equipment. But so far, only 600,000 has been given to the yard out of that 14 million of a pot, which was promised.
Was that 600,000 that Nicola Sturgeon blown pinched? Is that what it was?
That's what it was, right? No, it would appear she's taking the 14 million, the shipyard go to 600,000.
Just before anybody picks up on that, that was a joke. That was in humour. That was.
I don't say that in jest, or new digs might have a fucking tent outside it.
Yeah.
But anyway, you imagine the neck on them. Of course, we all know why the money's slow reaching the yard, because there's so many other priorities because of the cost of living crisis. Yeah. And that because they whack public services hard. You know, increase the electricity costs and things like that. All whack public services hard. Heating schools has been doubled. Lighting schools has doubled. You know.
In actual fact, if you look at the share ownership that the Scottish Government have got, one would say that Caledonia McBrain's is an important one that they've got, because to be honest with you, transport within a country is very, very important. Very,
as well as devolved, then, yeah. Just as well as devolved. So there you go. Public Audit Committee headed up by Bouncy Boy demands Scottish Government give 14 million to public yard. You couldn't make it up, could you?
Well, I see if he's got any of that money in his back pocket. We'll loan it to them at the moment. We'll get it back later on.
Aye.
How's that?
Aye, sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Now, of course, next up, the co-leaders of the Scottish Greens are interviewed on the BBC, where they're asked about their position on trans policy. So we'll put it up because it looks as if we run into next year's election, the mainstream media are going to have a right tanking at the Greens on their trans issue. So we'll stick a wee video up on trans rights being a red line for the Greens.
What if I am that voter who is absolutely committed to the climate cause, but I don't believe that trans women are women, and I don't believe what your party is doing with gender recognition reform? Do I have a home in your party then, or is that a red line?
I think that's probably a red line for us. Trans people have been massively targeted over the past few years, entirely wrongly, by a great number of of people.
Andy Whiteman, fairly senior and an influential MSP, ex-Scottish Green MSP, when he left your party, said, "It's become evident to me that the sort of open-minded public engagement I'd like to see take place on this topic, on gender issues, is incompatible with a party that's become very censorious of any deviation from an agreed line." Is that a fair comment?
No, I don't think so, because the party democratically came.
But you're not welcoming your party if you don't agree with you on that subject.
Would you expect the SNP to welcome people who oppose Scottish independence, or would you expect the Tories to?
You just said you do.
Because that's not the reason that we exist. The reason the SNP exists is independence. One of our core principles, one of the reasons that we exist, is equality, and that is LGBT equality. Our party came to the specific decisions it did on matters of trans equality as a result of a democratic process. People argued on both sides, but political parties need to have clear policy. We have come down unequivocally on the side of trans rights in this particular debate. That's how politics works. And if someone cannot accept that, fundamentally disagrees with us on that, then they don't have to stay in the Green Party. They can pursue the other things they care about elsewhere.
So, David.
I think in actual fact, the Green policy of greener, more equal Scotland is their core principle, right? Yep. And if at the moment, after what Ross Greer said over the last few weeks, a greener, more equal, independent Scotland is where they're coming from, then I've got to say, fair enough, okay, right, that's what you believe in. You've set your stall out. People get behind them or don't, one of the two.
What's that? And what he's saying about the policies of the Green Party were arrived at via democratic decision making, then if you don't like the core policies of the party, it's not the party for them, is it? Ross is right.
Hello.
I don't know what happened. You dropped off.
Yeah. Did you have another power outage by any chance?
Nope. And I've got a very strong signal at this end at the moment.
Right. How strange. Very strange.
Remember, I'm hardwired, David, and I've rewired it.
Yeah.
Mind to tell you, I was going to upgrade all the wiring and that.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we're back. So, as I say, fundamentally, if the Greens have decided that equality, and that includes trans equality, is a red line for them, then that's fair enough. They've made a pitch to the public.
I would say the majority of people in Scotland, when they really think the thing through, and you have to think it through, it's not just a gut reaction. You've got to think it through. Is that what most people would like would be a greener or equal independent Scotland?
Yes.
So
as David, when these culture wars came up and the trans issue came up, and the self-recognition issue came up, I joked about it. It wasn't until I realised that these people were getting rights taken from them.
Yes.
That you start to realise, hold on a minute, are we no all equal? Are we no all Jock Thompson's bairns?
Yeah.
And that, I'm afraid I'm with the Greens on the equality thing.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're black, white, purple, green or orange.
Yeah.
You should have the same rights.
Yeah.
As simple as that.
I mean, we have heard over the past few weeks whereby lasses that are working in, say, social works, that sort of area, I've noticed the amount of people in Glasgow that have moved from, say, Birmingham, and they are refugees, refugee status that have been accepted, right? And they've been moved up from England up to Glasgow. It's not just asylum seekers that are moved up into hotels. It is. We've got a situation where it's people that have got right to remain, but they've been told get to Glasgow, something like
That's
that.
because at that point in time, what they'll be doing with these people, David, is once they get their once they get their right to stay, they'll be looking at cities that have got available accommodation.
Yeah.
You know, it's not as if it's a case of we're sending all them to Glasgow, we're sending them here, we're sending them there. It's a case of where is their accommodation available?
Yeah.
You know, so. But as I say, when it comes to the Greens and equality, if that's one of their red lines, then it's not the party for you if you disagree with the red lines.
That's right. Yeah. You don't necessarily have to protest everything. You don't have to be angry at everything. You have to actually choose what you are and actually go that direction.
And if you notice, just as we come off the trans issue, David, and we move on, we noticed how the mainstream media is trying to bring us in line with England and Wales with these asylum hotels and flag shaggers.
Yeah, I know. That's that shocks me. It really, really does.
What shocks me is to the extent that they're going to.
Yeah.
They hit West Hill and Aberdeen, and the community up there embarrassed the BBC, including the local minister. And a couple of asylum seekers they spoke to also said that the people of West Hill, believe it or not, folks, it's a community in Aberdeen. There's 12,000 people live there. There's 300 asylum seekers living in a hotel there. But somewhere on their wee community council, there's a right-wing nutter who seems to think that the Home Office should be talking to a community council rather than the actual council. You know, you couldn't make it up. But this is all culture war stuff, and they're trying to drag us down to their level, David. We have to stay above it.
Yes, correct.
We have to stay above it. And I'm glad that when the BBC went to do their expose on the West Hill, the hotel up there, it's run by the Hilton, what's it called again? Can't remember off the top of my head.
Charlton. Oh, hell. Hampton,
that was it. The Hampton hotel up there, it's got 150 rooms, it's hosting 300 asylum seekers. And I say the BBC managed to interview a couple of them, and they said, "Oh, the local people are lovely." And then when the BBC went and spoke to the local people, the minister and everybody that ran across went, barely noticed them, but it can't be healthy if we're locked up in that hotel. We're not today, 24 hours a day. You know, and that's what the local minister was saying. That's what the local people were saying. And then they get to the village councillor with the idiot. You know, that's the village idiot. Why isn't the Home Office talking to me? Fuck off, you bam. You community council. Why is the Home Office not talking to you? Somebody get a grip of him and give him a shake.
yes.
But the point here, folks, is they're trying to drag us down to their level.
Yes. I mean, you mentioned about the Royal Mile, and
We say Calder Road in Edinburgh this morning.
the Florida Road, where they actually put the salt tire and then the line rampant, and then salt tire, maybe leave it up, but the line rampant, that talks about a king. I don't have a king.
No. But to be fair, as I say, we do know that these flags that are appearing everywhere, it seems to be networked, it seems to be getting paid for, and it seems to be coming from south of the border.
Yeah.
You know, there's guys in transit vans running around England and New Scotland, apparently, putting up fucking flags at night.
Well, you know, it's amazing, you know, if you find a vehicle that is coming in doing things like that, then I suppose letting the air out the tires would be a form of protest. Yes.
Direct action is a form of protest, David. Yes.
Yes.
Of course it is, but be willing to be jailed for criminal damage.
Well, well, Your Honour, the person was guilty of letting out the air from the tires.
The point, folks, is this isn't about flag shaggers. It's not about asylum hotels. It's not about trans issues. It's about dragging us down to their level.
Yes.
The majority of us here in Scotland believe in equality. And the majority is in Scotland only see the butcher's apron as being oppressive.
Yeah.
For the
Right.
kids, Halloween sweets and treats. No bother. Thanks, Kirsty. Right, we get scrolled down. So, folks, if you want to know what these headlines are about, it's about culture wars and about dragging us down to their levels and try to paint us as the same sort of extremists as the BNP down that road, or what they call now Britain First.
First, yes.
Which is it's just another name for the National Front, as it was, David.
Yeah.
You know, we'll beat them before, we're going to have to beat them again.
Yes, we can, and we can, definitely. However, the problem is it becomes such a stramash, is a Scottish word, or burach.
Aye, Burach's a bit
Because we're trying to fight in too many different fronts.
Aye. That's what's happening, but that's where they're getting it wrong, David. They're opening up into that many fronts that we're all just looking and going, you fucking daft. You know? So, folks, if you're wondering why your papers are full of these headlines, it's to try and portray us all as being as bad as each other.
Yeah.
We have to rise above it.
Yes, we do.
And that includes the people in England who, for the majority...
There's maybe a point to be made in that. I saw a rather interesting comment by a lass on that stupid TikTok, right?
Right.
And she was on about people that she went, oh, you she was on about the Gaza thing, right? You don't think that's atrocious? Well, you must be inhuman, right? And what she was pointing out was, she said, different people have different ideas of what's been going on because of what they are being fed.
Yep.
You're fed by an algorithm. The algorithm says, oh, you watched that, you must like it, then I'll send you more of that, right? So you end up going down one rabbit hole and someone else ends up going down another rabbit hole. So then you get together and you go, oh, you believe that? You must be inhuman, right? That's not the case. It's just the fact that they've got a different knowledge of what's happening to what you have.
Aye, we were talking about
Be careful of that. Be careful of that.
Aye, we were talking about Labour and reform. People intend to vote for reform as all racist. That would be a mistake.
Yeah,
And
be
it's
cautious of that, because at the end of the day, if you attack someone who's going to vote reform, you're attacking them personally because their own personal needs and wants are held in that, right? Be careful how you do it. Be cautious how you do it, and you will succeed, but you have to be careful about it. All right.
Well, we have to go about ending this culture war nonsense as well by not tolerating it.
Yeah.
Right. And we say not tolerating it, we don't mean the stupidity of it. You know, the way they're trying to set us all apart by throwing different culture, wars subjects as asylum hotels, flag shagging, fucking trans rights. It's just nonsense.
Well, someone's just said, the People's Front of Judea, or Judean People's Front. You know, it's like.
Now let's move on. The Dark Lord has gone again. That's his third time he's been sacked from government. This is more of his personal ties with Jeffrey Epstein comes up.
Yeah, the reason that he got sacked was nothing to do with that, right? It was the mere fact he couldn't keep up with John Swinney. That was it.
That's why he gets sacked. He's just handed in his report on what John did at fucking in the Oval Office and what he spoke to Trump about. I mean, Trump told him the way out the door. If you want anything, John, mate, Scotland needs anything, just give us a shout. I mean, once Mandy's put that in his report, Westminster's not going to fucking love it, is it?
True.
But no, he's gone again because of his ties with Epstein, apparently. And apparently, even though the Prime Minister was backing him at Prime Minister's questions yesterday, apparently the Prime Minister and the diplomatic service wasn't aware of his close ties with... the Secret Service wasn't aware of his very close ties. Who are these people fucking trying to kid?
Starmer chose Mandelson personally.
Yep.
Put them in a position personally. made this decision personally. So he holds the entire can, right?
Yeah.
Seriously, it's a can of urine he's holding, right? Okay, and he's holding the entire can. He's waiting for somebody to shake him, right? And at the end of the day, it's like, seriously, he's going to get covered with it.
Well, to be fair, David, a couple of them have shook him lately. Angela Rayner and fucking Mandy. It shows his decision making is very poor.
Well, you look at Mandelson. Right? Mandelson was the fixer for Blair's cabinet.
Yes, that's true.
You're right.
Aye.
You sure?
That's all.
You're not going to peg out now, are you?
It's me you're talking to. It's no matter you're looking at. So anyway, the Dark Lord's gone again.
Yes.
And as you said, he was Tony Blair's fixer, and he had his fingers in all sorts of pies. And by the sounds of it, is people's pies. By the sounds of it.
See, when you listen to him, right? See if they used it. I'm a sound engineer. Use a slightly different filter in his voice. You would hear impressive, very impressive.
Do you know something? That's a very important question and a good question. Do I think Keir Starmer will be ousted soon? We'll see how the budget goes. That's going to be the thing that's going to make or break him.
Do I think he'll make it to the next election?
No chance. No chance. But I think what will decide how fast he goes may well be the budget in the 26th of November.
Yeah.
Because at that point in time, depending on what direction he's gone in and who he's hammering and who he's taking money for, might well be his downfall.
Yeah. As far as the Scottish budget is concerned, right, what I would say is, at the moment, if the British government are prepared, the United Kingdom government are prepared to play fast and loose as far as that's concerned, right, my advice to the Scottish government is just put up what you like. Seriously. You need a certain number, just put it up and we'll deal with it afterwards. Simple as that.
Aye.
There's absolutely no benefit to what was said the other day there. It's ridiculous that we're having to wait on the UK government doing their budget before we can do our budget. That's wrong. We should not be in a situation of where we have to do that. Yeah?
No, we shouldn't be.
Right. So, end of the day, Scotland requires this number to do X, Y, Z. Right. Fine. There it is. So we write.
I've been saying this for years. Just fucking pay for everything in Scotland. And just set the bill down that road.
That's right. That's the way.
That's the way you do it.
Yeah.
No, fuck them. Hey, you want to know what the Scottish budget is this year? Hold on to pay all the bills labour. Oh, and I better have a wee bit in the bank just in case. So here you go. What do we need this year? 100 billion there. Fucking spend. Go, use it.
Right. End of story. That's it.
Aye. Right now, let's move on. Sir Kid Starver receives disgusting creature. That is Isaac Herzog in number 10. Now, of course, this does start a wee bit of stooshy in the Parliament yesterday, and I'm afraid to say Stephen Flynn didn't cover himself in glory, did he?
He didn't. I can understand where he's coming from, right? But when we get down to it, are we about student politics? Or are we about grown-up politics?
Yep.
I think we've got to be about grown-up politics.
Starmer pointed that out to him as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a silly mistake by Stephen. Well, I'll play it.
Yeah, go on then, do it.
And then we'll go through why it was a silly mistake.
Yeah.
Where are we?
Gaza is a graveyard, but rather than end arms sales, extend sanctions and stand by international law, the Prime Minister will today welcome into his home, a home entrusted to him by the people of these isles, the man who called for the collective punishment of the Palestinian people and who signed the artillery shells that destroyed their homes, their families and their friends. A man who will ignore every word the Prime Minister says. Would he invite Vladimir Putin into number 10? Would he invite Benjamin Netanyahu into number 10? What does it say of this Prime Minister that he will harbour this man whilst children starve?
For the record, we have suspended arms that could be used in Gaza, we have sanctioned extremists, and we suspended trade talks. But the point he raised is a very serious one. We all want an outcome that ensures peace, that the hostages get out, that aid gets in, and there's a two-state outcome. It is the only way we will get peace in a region that has suffered conflict for a very, very long time. I will not give up on diplomacy. That is the politics of students.
Gaza is a...
Right. Discuss.
Well, David, as far as I'm concerned, the only thing he got wrong there, Keir Starmer, that is where he met the Israeli president. Where's that taking place, David?
Yeah.
Where's it taking place?
Yeah, they've been better taking meeting about checkers.
Correct.
Meeting about number 10 was maybe about too explosive.
Yes, but more importantly, when it comes to these foreign diplomats and foreign leaders, checkers is a more appropriate place to see them.
Yeah.
You know, especially when it's such controversial leaders as that. And one of the things that people won't have seen unless they've seen it in social media was the protests outside Downing Street yesterday with MPs as well as members of the public, because there was a media blackout on it. Whereas when they went to checkers, there'd be media blackout anyway, because you can't leave the fucking place. You know, it would be much better to go to checkers. But Stephen was wrong on his attack there, because if we are going to become independent and play on the world stage, we need politicians to understand that we're going to have to speak to people that we don't fucking like, that we don't agree with. But in order to have any influence over them, we're going to have to speak to them. It's a bit like, go back to the beginning of the programme when the Greens are up in arms because John Swinney was dealing with Trump.
The difficulty with Starmer is that we know that Starmer likes the Zionist party. We know that he is from a Zionist background with Jewish mother and father and all the rest of it, right? So at the end of the day, you know, for Stephen Flynn to have a go at Starmer on that, perhaps it'd be better characterising Starmer rather than characterising a situation, because the situation is grown-up politics.
Right, let's go back to what Starmer said. They have sanctioned Israel. No, they've not. A couple of people in the West Bank get sanctioned. Stop selling arms to Israel. All the information we have and declassified says differently. Now, you're right, David. The reason why, and Tories don't get tasers right, you shouldn't be meeting with them. But that's not the point. It should be diplomats that's dealing with these people. It shouldn't be the Prime Minister at all at this point in time. But because of the things you pointed out, I mean, Starmer and Herzog have a lot in common. Like, they both like starving fucking children. They're both Zionists.
Yeah. You
know, so...
It still floors me. It's such a different way of thinking. It's just a different way of being. It's alien to me. It really is.
Better bring this one up, David, because a lot of people know where it is. Sir Keir Starmer said he was going to ban Israel and their representatives for the biggest arms fair in the UK. Well, guess what? He let 50 of them fucking in. So he did. He didn't ban them at all. What he did do was ban journalists. And what they were doing was they were checking accreditations, and if they didn't like you, like declassified, you get told you're not getting in. You know, so.
But Boris did that.
But Stephen Flynn's got to understand that when Scotland becomes independent and it's sitting at the international table, it is going to have to deal with people that doesn't want to. But it'll do it the right way. It'll not have the First Minister meet these people. You'll probably have a top diplomat meet these people. Meaning the ambassador for that particular country will convey anything that needs to be said, because that's what the diplomatic service is for. But as I say, the problem with Stephen with that question was, folks, and I don't piss on Stephen very often, but the problem with that was it left it open for Starmer to make the Scottish politician look stupid. It left it open for Starmer to make him look stupid by pointing out that no sitting at the table is student politics.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But aye, I like that one, Ellie Chaos. Keir Starmer, the minority harmer. I like that. I like that one. So, as I say, folks, don't often piss on Stephen Flynn. I think he's a good operator. I don't think he's quite ready to be the party leader. But at the same time, that was silly. He left himself open to be shot.
With the right amount of, let's say, people round about him, he would make a good party leader. Yes. With the right influencers round about him.
Oh, aye. As I say, I don't think he's ready yet, but he's cutting his teeth at the right place. So, as I say, should Starmer be meeting these people? No. Should Starmer, should the UK still be talking to these people? Yes, but it should be the diplomats that are doing the talking. And they certainly shouldn't have hosted them at his home. That made it personal.
Well, in another world, you would have had whereby Mr. Herzog landed at wherever.
It would have been lifted.
The British police were there, the Met police were there, whatever, right? And lifted and then put onto another plane bound for The Hague.
Yep, that's exactly what should have happened to him.
Yeah.
But all this crap about sanctioning, no supplying arms that Starmer piped up, what a pish. You want better than that. Apparently the attack on Doha, guess who was circling the skies above at the time? Refueling the Israeli jets.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
The RAF.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Try to say they're no complicit.
They are well and truly complicit.
Yes.
And they are doing it. Mr. McGuinness and Mr. Milligan, they are doing it in your name.
Yes. And the rest of these. Right. Let's move on, shall we, to the shooting of Charlie Kirk in America.
Yes.
Apparently, the right-wing activist and influencer was at a university campus in Utah where he was shot in the neck.
Yeah, carotid artery.
And later died in hospital, leaving behind a wife and 2 kids. Now, thoroughly disreputable character from your point of view. Big supporter of Donald Trump.
Well, a totally lacking empathy for anybody or anything,
Yep.
right? And yet, what's happening in America is everybody's being told, "Oh, you have to feel bad about this," right? And there's certain people going, "Well, why? He never felt in for us at all. He openly said he would have no thought of or dying or whatever, you know." So end of.
Well, the angle I was going to come at it from, David, of course, is how wrong political violence is. No matter how contemptible, if we're going to have something called freedom of speech and freedom of expression, he's going to be allowed to say it whether we like it or no.
Absolutely. But then you got someone like that who, as a possibility, you could end up very, very high up in the Republican scheme of things.
Yep.
End up as a future. Vance is now he's getting sidelined, right? An idiot like him can end up being president of the United States. My goodness me. Wow.
I don't know being sidelined with Vance. I think they've took him away to prep him for taking over Donald, actually.
No, they've taken him away because he said
they're going to pop him rather than have him take over Donald.
he said too many daft things.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I mean,
Yeah.
all the right-wing influencers earlier have said some really daft things. But let's get to the nub of why this happened, right? Now, what did Donald Trump say when he heard the news of this?
Oh dear, what a shame, never mind.
No, he said it made him sad and angry. And the reason why the American people are behaving the way they're behaving is because everybody's fucking angry.
Yeah.
And Trump's career as a politician seems to be on chaos and making people angry. So, although crime in America is down considerably, as people hunker down and hide for what's going on in the world, it would appear they're hunkering down fucking angry. You know? So, Trump's sad but angry. Well, guess what, Trump? You're the reason why everybody's angry. You're the reason why this young fella gets shot. You know, and this goes back to the end of his first administration. We tried to cling to power through insurrection. No.
You listen to the Americans talking about the AIPAC, the American lobby for Israel.
Right? Israel lobby, aye.
And it's like they start talking about, these people across in Israel have got a free health service. They've got like a safety net, proper good safety net they've got, right? All these stuff. Like he said, people of England don't, people of USA don't have that. And yet we're paying for it all.
Aye.
So, you can imagine why the people of the US are getting rather angry.
Well, the way I see it is that Trump's got the left, the right, and the centre in America angry. It seems to be how he keeps control. Chaos seems to be the centre thing that absolutely revolves round about him. You know, and he's got everybody angry. He got the right angry with his insurrection and claims of rigged election. He's got the left angry with righteous indignation. And he's got the centre angry. Well, the centre's generally angry because nobody ever fucking listens to the centre. They the right, listen to the left or the right.
And you talk of it's not just now the lower class, like in the UK, where it's the people in the very, very bottom of the pile that are being hit. It's people in middle classes that are being hit. In America, middle class are being hit bad now.
Okay, and it's happening here as well. The middle's being squeezed, but because of the way their system is over there and no safety net, things are a lot worse for the people there.
Yep.
You know, but as I say, the reason why this Charlie Kirk character has been assassinated is because Trump's got everybody fucking angry when it comes to the political discourse in America. I think the one that's handled it best is Gavin Newsom, with the ripping the piss out of everything that Trump does. You know, it's quite funny actually. But he seems to be a bit smart enough to realise what Trump's about. But and a big development in Europe, David.
Yep.
Because of the lack of agreement in the European Parliament on how to deal with Israel, what's happening?
Well, it's a European Commission that are going to do it, and they're going to produce their own sanctions.
Yeah,
So there's that. And they're going to stop. They're going to stop anything coming from Israel. Some of that.
Yep, trade sanctions. They're going to sanction extremist ministers.
But even going to sanction the Eurovision Song Contest.
Yes, and they're they're ending their horizon funding for Israel university students coming to Europe.
Yeah,
and they're going to invest in the Palestinian Authority because they realise that Israel's choking off finances to the Palestinian Authority to make it unviable for a two-state solution to come to pass. So the money they're taking from Israel, they're giving it straight to the Palestinian Authority, which is a good thing, because in the State of the Nation, State of the Union speech that Ursula von der Leyen gave in Strasbourg, she made it clear to the European Parliament, because the 27 different countries have all got a different approach to Israel, the Commission is going to do it with whatever autonomous powers it's got. And she also mentioned that the Council might want to take action against Israel as well now.
Well, the Council of Europe, important, right? But the Commission, effectively, if you imagine it sits over the top of the European Union.
Aye.
European Union is just it's like a trade club, right? But the Commission actually sits over in a more political room. But then you've got the Council of Europe,
Again, different thing.
was set up by Winston Churchill and the original.
3 different institutions, but
Yeah.
Ursula von der Leyen said that the Commission will take action with what autonomous powers it's got, and it's got a fucking wad in them, David.
Yeah.
Including control of the European Central Bank.
Very nice.
Very nice. So to hear von der Leyen and the Commission actually decide, look, Parliament, you just can't make your mind up, we're going to do it for you, because it's becoming embarrassing to the state of Europe, as she called it. You know, meaning the European Union. But so that's good news, because that really will have an effect.
Also, there's another side of it, right? Remember that we start off with, like whereby everything is distributed, right?
Yep.
And then it comes down into a federal state.
Yep.
And that's where Europe is heading towards.
Yes, definitely.
And it's like you have to look at that. From that point of view, you look at we've got the United States of Europe coming into being, and it's going to happen.
Yep, and if you look at it this way at the moment, Congress is the European Parliament, the Senate would be the Commission, and the Council would be the overbody.
That's right.
You know, so, but the Commission really does wield all the power.
Yeah.
And Netanyahu's pulling his hair out of this one, and he said that this is Hamas propaganda getting to the Commission.
In the military-industrial complex. Right.
Yep. So, well, we're at it. We may as well do a wee round up as we're getting towards the end on what's going on. And we'll start halfway Israel and Gaza. Hamas claim leadership survived Israel attack in Doha, but confirms 6 deaths. Bowden diplomacy in ruins after Israel strikes Hamas leaders in Qatar. As I say, Trump says strike on Doha does not advance Israel or America's goals.
Well, Al Jazeera actually mentioned that Israel have attacked 6 countries in the last 72 hours.
Yes.
Now, why would they wish to do that?
Because they're trying to drag America into a regional war there, because 6 states, they hit back. Israel can't handle that by themselves. So it's a case of boots on the ground for America.
Well, they're hoping that attacking all 6 of those different countries means that those 6 different countries will all fire back at the same time.
Aye.
And that forces America into actually going, oh, whoa, don't everybody stop, right? And it's like, that is end of story. America then gets involved whether they like it or not.
Well, you and I were talking about this, and who else was talking to this about? Can't mind, but I know you and I were talking about it. I mean, Qatar says they're going to strike back at Israel, but we know they can't. They're joined at the hip with the Yanks.
I've seen it. If you imagine Glasgow or Guile Street, you've got department stores, right? You've got Lewis's, and you've got another one that goes on other side of it, right? And that effectively is one side your American base, the other side is your Qatari base.
Yep.
Right? They just look the same facades, right? At the end of the day, I've seen it. In fact, I've actually physically seen this, right? And at the end of the day, it's like Qatar can't hit back unless America hits back. Are America going to hit Israel? They'll be daft.
Right, let's move over to Ukraine and Russia. Accidental or deliberate Russia's drone incursion into Poland is a test for NATO. What do you make of that?
Yeah, well,
Do
there you go.
you think the bear's poking back, David?
I'd say there is that. You are left with that impression, right? But also you've got to look at it from the point of view of there's another blogger that I know that is actually on about Ukraine is in a win-win situation at the moment because Russia have come so far forward. Ukraine only needs to hold them like that and fire over their heads deep into Russia, taking out bases and companies and you name it, right? Okay. And just keep on doing that. And they reckon that within the next year or so, Russia could end up losing another couple of million people.
That was still 178 million to spare, so put it on no mind.
Oh, yeah. Right. But if it does come to a third world war, which now is looking more and more likely, a couple of million people are nothing.
Right, apparently a new law is going to let some Ukrainian men leave the country, but will it hurt their war efforts? Of course it will, less manpower.
Yes, it will.
Russian airstrike kills 24 in pension queue, Ukraine says. And Trump, we've already had this bit of nonsense. Trump threatens tougher sanctions after Russia's heaviest strike on Ukraine to date. And that seems to be the latest we've got.
I'll never, ever trust anything that Trump says until he actually starts doing stuff. And he won't do stuff.
No. He's feared that Putin lets out the old KGB footage of Trump diddling kids in Moscow. Well, folks, hope you found it interesting. We hope you found it informative, and we hope you found it entertaining. Tickle that like button on your way out the door. Share if you want to. But it's time for me to piss off to go to work. What about you? You going to get your dinner now, David? Aye.
Probably yes.
Yep. So I'll be back tomorrow morning, folks. 10:30. Don't be late. You're on the naughty step. David will be back with us on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday next week. Okie dokie. So eyes on the prize. Over to you, Mr. Milligan.
Time for independence. Because all this nonsense that you see at the moment come from Westminster is easily dealt with, providing we gain our independence. Because then we've got the opportunity of doing things our own way, driven by our own people.
Right. I guess that's it then. Thanks for tuning in such high numbers, and thanks for the super chats that came through. I'm sorry if I missed putting any up. Bye for now.